It's Tuesday, January 28. In the headlines, opposition senator questions reported $27 million purchase of a Neuro drill. Tributes pour in following the death of renowned historian and educator Sir Roy Augier. In the Living Healthy report, we look at why measles cases are increasing worldwide. In the business report, bankers are asking for a tax reduction in exchange for lowering interest rates. In regional news, Antigua and Barbuda step up its efforts to tackle money laundering. And in sports, sprint star Sharika Jackson back on the tracks after a 6-month absence. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. A 48-hour curfew has been imposed in sections of Christiana Manchester. The curfew began at 6 p.m. on Monday and will remain in effect until 6 p.m. Wednesday. The boundaries of the curfew are: east, along an imaginary line from Craighead to an area of vegetation in Silent Hill; east, south, along an imaginary line from the northern boundary to an area of vegetation at Silent Hill; and south, westerly, along an imaginary line from the eastern boundary to a section of the main road in Craighead. Jamaica's Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett has been awarded the Distinguished Premier Excellencias 2024 award. He was awarded for his exceptional contributions to the tourism sector throughout his career. It acknowledges Minister Bartlett's commitment to developing sustainable tourism practices, both locally and globally. During his tenure, Minister Bartlett has spearheaded numerous initiatives that have transformed the tourism landscape, including the establishment of the Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center. In his response to the announcement, Minister Bartlett says, quote, "It is a testament to the collaborative efforts of our entire tourism sector and reinforces Jamaica's position as a leading destination in the Caribbean region." A Neuro drill is the electric and pneumatic power system for the spine and neuro departments. It's used to treat patients with injury to or diseases of the brain, spinal cord and spinal column, and peripheral nerves within all parts of the body. Opposition Senator Lambert Brown says he was informed that a drill was bought for the Bustamante Hospital for Children. However, Senator Brown raised some concerns during his contribution to the State of the Nation debate in the last sitting of the Senate. Senator Lambert Brown says expending $27 million to purchase a Neuro drill for the Bustamante Hospital for Children amounts to 3 times the usual price of the equipment.
For $32,000 US. I have seen invoice where that said drill was purchased in China at under $14,000 US.
He's demanding information about the purchase.
We are paying 27 million, price of 3 such drills at Bustamante Children's Hospital.
No, that's not right.
We need to know who got that contract.
Senator Lambert says his research shows that the drill could cost about $8 million.
Something wrong. Something wrong. And I'm calling on the Integrity Commission to investigate that purchase and whether Jamaica got value for money.
Condolences are pouring in for the family of Professor Sir Roy Augier. A renowned historian and educator, Professor Sir Roy Augier died on Sunday. He was 100 years old. Professor Augier authored several seminal works chronicling the history of Jamaica's people and was a central figure in academic excellence for more than 60 years. He is credited as one of the founders of the Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC, in 1979, representing the University of the West Indies, Mona, playing an active role since its inception. He convened the first Caribbean history subject panel, which created the syllabus for the first Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate exam in 1979. Augier was awarded the Order of Distinction in Jamaica in 2014 for his outstanding contribution to education, history, and nation building. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, in a social media post, says the death of Professor Sir Roy Augier is a major loss to the academic, historical, literary, Jamaican, and Caribbean communities, end quote. He furthers, quote, Professor Augier is beyond a historian. He was a visionary and a pioneer. His work as a researcher, educator, and Vice-Chancellor of the University of the West Indies inspired countless scholars and leaders. His book, The Making of the West Indies, is a cornerstone of education in Jamaica and across the region, end quote. Opposition leader Mark Golding tweeted that he is saddened by Sir Augier's death, noting, quote, his contribution to Jamaican and Caribbean history, to regional education, and to Caribbean intellectual life as a whole has been immense. On a personal level, I grew up on the same road as Prof. Augier and his family, and we have been friends throughout my lifetime, end quote. On the celebration of his 100th birthday in December 2024, UWI's Vice-Chancellor, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, paid tribute stating, quote, what a magnificent ongoing innings, 100 not out. Scholar, educator, activist, World War II veteran, and administrator, Roy is a true Caribbean Renaissance man. He continues to inspire us to reflect on our Caribbean history, how we perceive ourselves, not as how others perceive us, and how that sense of ownership and belonging should help us to fulfill a vision of a strong Caribbean civilization in the future, end quote. In this week's Living Healthy report, we look at measles. Did you know that if a child with measles walks into a classroom, every unvaccinated child will most certainly get it? Why are measles cases increasing worldwide? Why should you be concerned about it? And is measles vaccine safe and effective? We hear more in this report.
Welcome, Natasha. Talk to us about why parents need to be concerned about measles.
Measles is not just a rash. It's a very serious infection that can put your child in the hospital. 110,000 children died from measles last year. It can cause blindness, it can cause deafness, it causes pneumonia, and in worst case, it causes death. And also a brain infection that occurs later on, years later, after a child has apparently recovered from measles. So all of these complications of measles, they're devastating, but they're all completely preventable through vaccination.
Why are measles cases increasing all around the world?
So measles is on the rise because not enough children have been vaccinated. There was a big fall in the number of children being vaccinated during the COVID-19 pandemic. And so there's a big gap in our immunity. About 22 million children missed out completely on their measles vaccine in 2023, and that's led to big outbreaks of measles all around the world. with a big increase in the number of cases.
What about the measles vaccine? Is it safe? Is it effective?
It's safe, it's effective. In fact, it's so effective that the measles vaccine has saved more lives than any other vaccine we have in our routine program today. We estimate about 60 million, or in fact more than 60 million children's lives were saved by measles vaccine in the years since the year 2000. So imagine that, there are 60 million children who are alive and healthy because of vaccination, which is a miracle.
Now, the measles vaccine has to be administered at a certain age, and there's a second dose. Talk to us about it.
The first dose is routinely given at 9 months of age in countries where there's quite a lot of measles around to get protection in early. But in countries where there's less measles, we leave it a bit later, till 12 months or older. And then the second dose is given at least 3 months afterwards. It can be a few years later, depending on the country's schedule. So 2 doses is really needed, but with 2 doses, you get close to 100% effectiveness against measles, which is fantastic.
In the business report, bankers are asking for a tax reduction in exchange for lowering interest rates. Denise Williams has that story and more.
Welcome to today's Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, here to bring you the stories shaping the financial world and guiding your journey to smarter business decisions. Let's dive into the top headlines. The Bank of Jamaica reports that total remittance inflows from January to October of last year dipped by 0.1% to US $2.793 billion when compared with the corresponding period in 2023. The BOJ notes that 67.7% of the country's remittance inflows comes from the USA for the months January to October last year, down from the 69.5% recorded during the corresponding months of 2023. The BOJ adds that 11% of remittances come from the UK, 10.7% come from Canada, while the Cayman Islands accounted for 6.2% of remittance inflows. Bankers in Jamaica says that their costs are too high, which prevents them from lowering interest rates despite 4 rate reductions initiated by the Bank of Jamaica. President of the Jamaica Bankers Association, Audrey Tugwell Henry, says the cost of banking in Jamaica is too high, making it difficult for commercial banks to respond quickly to the central bank's recent rate reductions. She said the government must consider reducing the income tax paid by banks from 33.33% to 25%, as well as the 0.25% tax placed on the almost $2.85 trillion in banking assets. Mrs. Tugwell Henry was speaking at the recent Investments and Capital Markets Conference hosted by the Jamaica Stock Exchange. For the trading period ending January 27, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited with 9,169,052 units traded, representing 50.18% of market sales volume. International hardware and PVC manufacturer Phosphorus Company Limited with 1,072,887 units traded, representing 5.87% of market sales volume. Beverage manufacturer Jamaican Teas Limited with 859,266 units traded, accounted for 4.7% of market sales volume. We now shift our focus to the Forex market rates set by the Bank of Jamaica. On January 27, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US $59.1 million purchased and US $66.74 million sold by Forex traders. Forex traders earned $1.60 per dollar, selling the US at $158.06 and buying the US at $156.46. The Canadian dollar netted forex traders $11.50 per transaction, with selling at $120.53 and buying at $109.03. The British pound yielded forex traders $2.05 in profits, with selling at $197.14 and buying at $195.09. For our credit report tip of the day, as a self-employed professional, visiting your banker to discuss credit worthiness is a crucial step towards building financial stability. However, what if your credit score is below 500 points? The gold standard for credit score is 850 points, but even a small improvement can unlock better financial opportunities. Here are two options. You can negotiate with your creditors. Work out a payment plan to reduce outstanding balances. You can also pay debt strategically. Use the snowball or avalanche method to tackle balances. In our Building Something from Nothing feature, we're looking at from nothing to financial resilience. And so building financial resilience and recovery as a professional woman over 45 years who seeks a slower pace of life with passive income, you need to have planning and action. So here are steps you can take. Believe it or not, you practice stress reduction. Incorporate yoga, meditation, or regular walks to restore balance and energy in your daily life. You can also consider shifting to flexible work. Explore consulting, part-time work, or freelancing to ease your workload and gain control over your time. And that wraps up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, reminding you that every financial decision is a step toward your future. Until next time, stay focused, stay informed, and keep striving for success. See you soon.
In regional news, Antigua and Barbuda has made another major step in its efforts to tackle money laundering and the financing of terrorism. The National Oversight Committee on Financial Action launched the country's updated National Risk Assessment to strengthen the country's phalanx of defenses against financial crimes. The event was held at the Financial Services Regulatory Commission on Friars Hill Road on Monday.
This event marks a significant step in the nation's ongoing efforts to bolster its financial systems and align with international standards in the fight against money laundering, financing of terrorism, and proliferation financing. Chairman of the National Oversight Committee on Financial Action, Lieutenant Colonel Edward Croft, emphasizes the importance of the NRA as more than just a ceremonial launch.
Today's event is more than a ceremonial launch. It is a declaration of our commitment to fortifying our nation's defenses against financial crimes.
He also highlights the transformative role of the assessment.
The outcomes of this assessment will be instrumental in enabling a risk-based approach that prioritizes the allocation of resources, strengthens institutional frameworks, and enhances interagency cooperation.
Attorney General Honorable Sir Roy Benjamin delivered the official address on behalf of the Prime Minister, Honorable Gaston Brown. Sir Roy reiterates the government's strong commitment to combating financial crimes.
My government has consistently demonstrated a strong commitment to combating financial crimes. I have led the move. We have adopted legislations and amended the frameworks to strengthen our anti-money laundering and counter-financing terrorism frameworks.
He says the government's proactive stance is expected to further enhance Antigua and Barbuda's reputation as a responsible financial jurisdiction. Shanakisha Francis, ABS News.
In Barbados, local police officers are working around the clock to bring hundreds of offenders to justice, but some of their efforts seem to be going in vain. That's because some of the accused are successfully winning cases filed because of lengthy delays. Ernesta Henry tells us Attorney General Dale Marshall raised the issue at the opening of a symposium to address the backlog in the justice system, which was held at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center.
There are about 1,606 matters awaiting trial in the High Court at this time, compared to 350 in 2011. The disclosure from Attorney General Dale Marshall. According to him, many of them are from 10 to 12 years ago, and a large number of accused individuals are now bringing constitutional motions against the state. They argue the delay has resulted in a breach of their fundamental rights. Mr. Marshall says after investigators have worked hard to bring cases before the court, the accused have been winning the motions and getting damages.
As Attorney General, I will tell you, my duty is to uphold the law. And whether it means the rights of the accused or the rights of the upstanding citizen, it's all the same to me. Rights are rights. And I would not stand here and suggest that we can deny a person basic constitutional fundamental rights because they are charged with murder or charged with rape or charged with anything else. Your rights are your rights, and they have to be respected. But I must say that I'm sure, will have a galling effect on you that you've worked so hard in an investigation, done all this work, and through absolutely no fault of your own, somebody not only brings a constitutional motion, the case gets stayed so it can never get tried, and on top of that, your taxpayers' dollars got to go to pay them damages and to pay the lawyers' legal fees.
Mr. Marshall says government has been providing resources to get the issue of crime under control at a national level. He explains that in 2011, when the backlog was 350 cases, Barbados only had 2 judges and about 5 prosecutors. The Attorney General says the country now has 8 criminal court judges and 16 prosecutors. Adding the time has come to resume discussions about lawyers doing prosecutions in the magistrate's court to help ease the backlog.
I am looking seriously at a new policy directive, one which will see the prosecution in the magistrate's court coming away from the hands of the police and being dealt with by specialist prosecutors.
And Mr. Marshall says it is also time police officers receive training in statutes being passed, including the New Bill Act, which he notes can be complex.
It's very important for us to make sure that in a room just like this, you get your officers together so that Mr. Seal and his team, Sir David Simmons, whoever it is, can sit down and go through with your officers what are the ingredients of the new Bail Act. How does it put the burden on the accused as opposed to the current system? So that as you do your work, you will have a better understanding of what the next step is.
Commissioner of Police Richard Boy says lawmen will not look for excuses in delivering their duties as it relates to getting necessary files completed on time and submitted for court proceedings.
Every effort will be employed to honor this responsibility. And I implore all officers in the service to discharge their responsibility to this cause. We in the police service are well aware of the heavy responsibility which is placed on us as it relates to assisting in getting the criminal justice system functioning at its optimum level.
The 3-day symposium, which ends on Wednesday, is being held in association with the Inter-American Development Bank, the United Nations Development Programme, PS Justice, and the European Union. Ernesta Henry, CBC News.
The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is opening applications for permits to enter restricted areas during Carnival in Port of Spain and environs, free of charge for residents from this week.
According to Public Information Officer at the TTPS, Inspector Michelle Lewis, the TTPS will provide a sticker free of cost for those who apply for a vehicle permit. They require a recent utility bill as proof of address, a valid driver's permit for anyone driving the vehicle, insurance inspection, and your certified copy. Ms. Lewis says the intention is to prevent the free flow of vehicles who do not require mandatory entry into the area.
So in the first instance, we provide you and we give you an opportunity for quite a period of time for you to get the permit. If for whatever reason you were unable to, your driver's permit should show your proof of address. You're supposed to have your driver's permit that says that you're living in this area. And usually officers will open the barrier and allow you to pass it.
Okay. According to Inspector Lewis, during the carnival season, there is an increase in particular offences, including motor vehicle larceny, home invasions, and larceny from the person or robbery. She is urging both local and visitors to secure their premises before leaving home and to ensure when using hired transport services, you are aware of the person coming to provide that service.
One of the things we also want to tell tourists this morning is not to walk with excess cash, excess jewelry and that kind of thing. That will make yourself an easy target. So we know that a lot of places, a lot of events, when you go to it, you already purchase a lot of things already. If it's an all-inclusive or semi-inclusive or whatever, you already have some things already paid for. So you can walk with limited cash as well as a card, a debit card that you can use if you want to purchase anything else.
In sports, we're on track with athletics. Jamaican sprint star Shericka Jackson began her 2025 season on the weekend with a second-place finish in the women's 60 meters at the Queen's Grace Jackson Development Meet at the National Stadium in Kingston. Jackson clocked 7.18 seconds, trailing Judine Williams, who won with a time of 7.15 seconds. The 30-year-old Jamaican had been absent from competition for 6 months, having missed the 100 meters and 200 meters events at the 2024 Paris Olympics due to injury. Now into the gym. It was a splendid showing by many of Trinidad and Tobago's finest female powerlifters who vied for places on the 2025 National Powerlifting Team at the National Powerlifting Championships, which took place at Presentation College, Chaguanas.
It was that time of the year again in the sport of powerlifting, as a record 91 athletes gathered at the Presentation College in Chaguanas to compete in the National Powerlifting Championships for places on the national team, which has a busy calendar of events for 2025. Taking to the platform were the ladies in the 47 to 69 kg category. 75-year-old Lois Sprang, who represented TNT at last year's North American Championships, made easy work of this 70 kg squat lift. After two great lifts at 75 and 85, Brittany Ben-Gaucher opted for a third, where she broke the 52 kg national squat record with a lift of 90 kgs. First-time competitor at the championships in the 63 junior division, Pooja Prasad gave an excellent account of herself as she fought her way through this 100 kg lift. Highly decorated national powerlifter Ruth Lai showed her class on the platform with a second squat attempt of 130. Powerhouse Genesis Prescott made this 150 press look easy. Kanika Waldron wasn't far behind, getting great depth on her 145 press. 63 kg overall female champion at last year's North American Championships, Carissa Grant reminded the public what she's capable of with a lift of 162.5. And rounding up this session for the women, showing an impressive display of resilience on the platform with a 132.5 press, was national lifter Janelle Nivette. Wayne Cunningham, TTT Sports.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. Thank you so much for watching.